Welcome to this week's 3-minute theory session. This one's all about how we can structure our practice and is part of a bigger series on developing skill. So let's take a look. As long as we're out there practicing, does it really matter what we do? Well, we've all heard the phrase, practice makes perfect, but as many of us already know, this isn't quite true. Some of us may have even heard the phrase, practice makes permanent. Again, this isn't quite the case, and we'll explore why. As coaches or personal paddlers, we need to think about how we structure our practice sessions. Before we can do this, we need to know what we want from our practice and why we're practicing in the first place. So what are the possible outcomes? As a bit of background, there are two possible outcomes from our sessions. At one end of the spectrum, there are the short-term improvements that happen during that session. This is known as practice performance. This success feels great and can be a big motivator for us. At the other end, there are the long-term improvements that we see next time we're out making moves in our boats, be that catching a wave or making that little mid-rapid eddy. So what are the different types of practice and which should we use? Block practice is when you perform or get others to perform the same skill over and over. There's a high level of repetition here, and as such, you pick up the action quickly. As you can see from the video, Nick is practicing turning on the spot. He could do this multiple times without worrying about anything but turning. Serial practice is when we practice more than one element but transition through it in a predictable order. As you can see here, Nick is still performing a turn, but this time he's incorporating forward paddling in and out of the gully. This is a step towards a more real-world application. Finally, there's random. With this form of practice, we work on numerous different elements which work in combination with each other. The sequence is not pre-arranged, so the paddler must switch in different skills in an unpredictable order to match what is dictated by the situation. Barry's practicing his rescues here and must account for the conditions, the position of the swimmer, and the combination of moves needed to successfully make contact with the boat. So what types of practice should we use? Unfortunately, there's no right answer, but if we take into account the research and compare the two ends of the spectrum, maybe you can make a choice for yourself. With block practice, as we said earlier, the picking up a skill is often quick. However, the retention and transfer is low. From a learner's point of view, the amount of thinking on their part is also low, as they're focused on one task for a set period of time. In comparison, skill pickup in a random practice setting is slower, but what may be of importance to us as active paddlers is that the retention and transfer of these skills into different settings and situations is much higher. There is much more thinking to be done by the paddler, and as a result, they'll continue to compare and distinguish the different aspects of the skill and build solutions which are more distinctive and meaningful. One final thing to add is that if we're going to use different practice strategies as a spectrum, it's important that we move through them carefully. If we spend too long in blocked, it can become boring and lead to frustration. But if we move too quickly into random, it can be too much and have a detrimental effect. The skill is balancing these. So there it is. 3 different practice strategies you can use as either a coach or in your personal paddling. Remember, these 3-minute sessions are not designed to give you all the detail, just enough to trigger curiosity and hopefully provoke some discussion. As always, I'd like to invite the Essential members to attend an online Q&A next Tuesday evening where we can discuss the points raised and further explore the subject. You'll find more information in the video description on our Patreon page. If you're not an Essential member but you think you might like to join us, head over to our Kayak Essentials website for more information.